The following segments are pre-recorded and sponsored by Longworth Productions.
Treating shoulder pain on Triad Today. Hello everyone, I'm Jim Longworth and welcome to another edition of Triad Today, coming to you from the Senior Botanical Garden in Curtisville. We'll tell you more about those good folks later on, and later on when the roundtable shows up, we'll get into all sorts of controversial topics there. We're going to have some great guests and important information throughout the half hour, including a discussion about shoulder pain and how to treat it. But before we do that, we want to talk about something much more pleasant with a pleasant guest. She's been with us before. Claire Ritchie is Associate Vice President of Workforce and Continuing Education at GTCC. Welcome back.
Thank you so much for having me.
Recap for us a few of the ways that most adults can obtain a high school diploma.
Sure. So the college offers GED, adult high school, and another test called the HiSET. So students can take tests or earn credits toward their high school diploma.
And those are the traditional ways, and we've talked about those before. But you sent me an email about something called Power Pathways. I want to find out about that. What is that all about?
Okay, so Power Pathways is not a high school diploma, but it is a program for adults with intellectual disabilities, so adults with special needs. Sometimes they may have earned a high school diploma through the occupational course of study in the public schools, but this program provides them some specific career training so that they can find employment.
Now, I think you also had told me before that there's like two different career tracks they can choose going through this program.
That's right.
What are they?
So the first one is food service, and that one we've actually been operating since 2019.
That's right.
And then there's a new track that we are hoping to launch in the fall, which will be digital literacy and customer service.
What would you say the goal is of the students with these disabilities? What are their goals as they matriculate through the Power Pathway?
Sure. Well, a lot of times the goal is employment, and for this population, there are some barriers to employment. So we're trying to help them refine their skills. Part of the class, they work on practice interviewing, resume, and actual job applications, as well as the particular career skill they're working on. So a lot of times the goal is employment, but also sometimes students want to be able to volunteer. And we're also, to be honest, we're working on life skills. So in the food class, they're learning how to prepare food, which is a life skill that they need.
That's great.
And digital skills, you know, we can't do anything these days without the computer. So
right. I try, but it doesn't work.
It's hard.
Yeah. Now, how long is the program, and is there a cost to enroll?
Yes, so it's a fall and spring. It's a one-year program, and it ranges between about $150 to $200 for the entire year. And we do have some scholarships available for students with financial need.
Well, that's good. But now, something else I wanted to ask you. I'm assuming the classes, since we're sort of hoping to get on the other end of the whole pandemic thing, the classes are held on campus, GTCC?
That's right. So we've offered food service in both Greensboro and High Point at our campuses there. And we will offer it in either location depending on student interest.
Right. What if one of the students has the transportation is a barrier for them, has a problem with it? What do you do?
Sure. Well, through our Titan Link office at the college, we can provide bus passes. So, and both of our campuses, Greensboro and High Point, are on the city bus lines. So that is a way that students can get back and forth.
Yeah, and that plus, as you alluded to, the scholarship thing is trying to make it easier for these folks to, and for everybody, because I know you do a great job at GTCC for making it easier for people to get in and get past those barriers to learning. Hey, before time runs out, what kind of feedback have you received over time from, it could be students, parents, employers? What kind of sense do you have of how it's been going?
We've gotten really good feedback. I mean, some families have said this is, they didn't think their child would be able to go to college. So this was a college experience where they were able to come to the college like any other adult, learn a skill, go to a graduation, all of those things. So it's a real confidence builder. We've had students find employment. Recently at our graduation, we had a student come back. He's working 2 different jobs in the food industry, and he talked to the students about his experiences. So we've had excellent feedback.
This, I can see you smiling through this whole thing, and just to be personal for a second, not to put you on the spot, but this has got to be gratifying to you to see this program in action, right?
It is, and this was one of the things when I came to GTCC, this was a goal because we didn't have anything like this in place. I had worked with a program similar, different topics in another college. So one of my first goals at the college was to get this started because there are a lot of adults with special needs, young adults and older adults.
Right.
And in the past, there haven't been a lot of opportunities for them to integrate with society. And so I just think it's needed. And I also think that they bring a lot to the table. They love coming to class, they love coming to work. They're fun to be around, and they have a lot of skills to offer. So it's something that I find very gratifying.
I can tell. Thanks for doing this. Will you come back sometime?
Absolutely.
Up on screen, gtcc.edu is where you can get more general information. I hope you will visit that website. We'll be right back after this.
Let GTCC help you take your next career step. Guilford Technical Community College. Make amazing happen.
Hi, I'm Jim Longworth, reminding you that Triad Today is now streaming on WFMY Plus, available free on Roku and Amazon Fire TV. Back now on Triad Today, we have two very special guests with us talking about a great grant program that's doing some great things in the area to help with weatherization and all sorts of things, but I'm not going to spill all the beans right now. Let's go to them. They can help us talk all about it. Hank Henning, of course, manager local government community relations for Duke Energy, and a first-time visitor to the show. Hank's special guest is Matthew Doles. He's executive director of Piedmont Triad Regional Council, and you're just over everything, and we got to have you back sometime just to talk about the council, all right?
Thank you very
much. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Hank, let me start with you. Duke Energy recently gave PTRC a special grant. What was that grant for, and what was the amount?
It was for $50,000. It was for a tiny home that's going into training our workforce for weatherization projects that's going to take place. And this helps us and continue our partnership with them, which we've enjoyed for years, to not only train the workforce for tomorrow to help with these weatherization programs, but we have a lot of programs out there, some of which we've talked about on the show, like the home energy home visit, right, and so forth, that helps people to decrease their energy bills by weatherizing their homes. So this puts the people in the field that know what they're doing.
Fits right into your mission too. And speaking
Absolutely.
of mission, Matthew, what, just for folks that maybe don't know, or maybe they moved into the area, whatever, the council, what's the mission of the council? What areas do you serve? And just bring us up to speed.
Yeah, so we're actually a government entity, and we're considered a local government. We've got the 12-county Triad region. All the counties and all the cities within the region are members of ours. And we kind of think of ourselves almost as consultants to those folks. We deliver services from a coordinated standpoint so they don't all have to do it themselves. And hopefully that drives efficiency in programs and more quality programs to folks.
All right. Now, Hank mentioned this tiny home thing, which is a smaller house, now, what is that whole project about? And there's also a community development training center. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so it's a pretty cool project. A lot of folks, everybody knows Duke Energy from selling electricity and selling energy products. But a big part of what they do is also just manage a system and a grid. And they've always been a leader in energy efficiency because they want to keep folks kind of using smaller amounts of energy so that the system is stretched out and lasts longer for businesses and the folks who need it. But we found we got into doing efficiency work for individuals, helping folks save money on their power bills by making their house more efficient. To do that, obviously there are a lot of certifications that you need to get. And there was no one in North Carolina that was providing any of those. And so what we saw is, hey, for all the people in North Carolina, and for that matter, South Carolina and Tennessee who are doing this type of work, we could be that resource to provide training. As a part of that, though, of course, we can do all the classroom work, but you need folks to be able to demonstrate their skills as they move through that training. And like when we went to Virginia, they had a huge facility and they had these mock houses within that facility so that they could test folks and do that training. And we thought about doing that, but then I've got innovative folks on my staff, and we started thinking about how could we kind of make a better product. And we started thinking about tiny houses and thought if we could make something that was mobile, then we can take that out to different parts of the state. We can partner with community colleges,
Right.
high schools, and other folks to provide training there.
Very quickly, who can apply to receive this training so they can go out and help with this?
So any individual who wants to get in the business can apply. We also work with heating and air folks who are trying to train their staff to do it. And we've worked with utilities and other folks who are trying to train folks to go out and do this type of work.
All right, up on screen, if you want to learn more about the weatherization program in general and some of the things we're talking about here, you can visit www.ptrc.org. And of course, also a shout out to Hank's folks at duke-energy.com. Check that out as well. Hey, guys, I appreciate all you're doing for the community. And Matthew, we come back sometime?
I'm glad to do it.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll be right back after this.
No matter the challenges, we were there.
Whatever the struggles, we were there.
And as the sun comes out, bringing the promise of a brighter tomorrow, we will still be here.
We're Duke Energy, and we're building a smarter energy future for you.
What are you waiting for? Your future awaits at Guilford Technical Community College. Make amazing happen.
Back now on Triad Today. I always like to talk about jobs and job training, and let's do that with a good friend of the show. He's been with us several times. Always glad to get him back with us. This is Russell Dye. He's Regional Manager of Workforce Development Services for Goodwill Industries of Northwest North Carolina. Welcome back and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Jim. Thank you for having me.
In general, we'll get to some specifics in a minute. In general, what kind of classes does Goodwill offer?
Well, there's an array of courses that Goodwill offers. Right now, we just started a new semester. And so most of our classes are in partnership with Forsyth Tech. Some of the classes I'd like to highlight today are our welding course, our MIG and TIG welding. Those are courses that we are always offering and always looking to invite new people to come and explore the opportunity of the industry of welding, as well as our intro to early childhood development. That is a great course, and all of our courses have a unique opportunity to connect directly to employment. So it's really exciting to see people go through those courses and then on the other end potentially have a very lucrative outcome or income.
Absolutely. Now, you sent me an email the other day, and it says that you have some new courses and new classes starting up, and I believe one of them had something to do with health, careers in health insurance, and another with digital literacy. Talk about those.
Yeah, so the one with the healthcare is actually in conjunction with Forsyth Tech and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina. They approached us last year. We were able to get that first cohort off the ground. We had 10 people that participated, 8 of them completed, so a great ratio. We were incredibly excited for those individuals. Blue Cross and Blue Shield addressed us from the standpoint of they wanted this to be a diversity and equity initiative, if you will. And so that initiative got off and running. They're looking to get more women and more people of color invested in the insurance industry. So it's been a great opportunity for us.
And then what about digital literacy itself? What's going on with that?
Yeah, so digital literacy, there's still a digital literacy divide, if you will, and we're seeing a lot of that in our career centers. And so we're working with Forsyth Tech to get a course up and running at our facility. Forsyth Tech already offers that course, but we want to bring that to our facility on University Parkway. And so we're looking to do that here in February.
That'll be great. That's pretty convenient and centrally located. Now, is there I guess it's going to sound like a stupid question, I'm going to ask it anyway. Is there a real demand for the skills and the careers that you've been alluding to? Everything from the welding, but particularly with the health insurance careers, with digital literacy. What kind of demand is there out there right now?
Well, we're hearing and seeing a deficit, to be honest with you. A lot of employers are struggling to get people to go to work, particularly in skills training or skilled trades. Skilled trades are fantastic careers. And so one of the things we pride ourselves in at Goodwill is enlightening people and sharing those opportunities with individuals. As far as what we're hearing, that construction workers, we're actually having a hard time getting an instructor for one of our courses for the basic construction course.
Wow.
And because a lot of those individuals with the experience are out there working. And so we're trying to fill that need so that we can get that class up and running. But yeah, there's definitely a deficit.
Now, I know there's a big event coming up. There's, I think it's called a nonprofit hiring event, Wednesday, January 25th. What's going to happen there?
Yeah, speaking towards that deficit, a lot of our nonprofit partners are experiencing some difficulties with filling some very key positions to serve people. Obviously, we work in human services as well as workforce development. And so in partnership with Financial Pathways of the Piedmont, we're working with them to collaborate and have a fantastic event that's going to host about 17 different, right now we have 17 confirmed different nonprofits in the Winston-Salem area that are going to be participating.
That's going to be held where?
At 2701 University Parkway.
At the center. Oh,
at
yeah.
At our building.
All right, before time runs out, I want to put this information up on screen. The general information, goodwillnwnc.org, is the website for Goodwill of Industries in Northwest North Carolina. Of course, we referenced the event on Wednesday, January 25th. Hey, I appreciate it. I want you to keep us posted on how it's going, will you?
Absolutely. Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Russell. We'll be right back after this.
You know, it's hard to believe the Safe Sober program has been going strong for over 30 years.
And over 600,000 students have made the pledge to stay safe and sober on prom night. You know, Griff, it's had a huge impact on our community.
Yeah, you're right, David. And now we're making sure the message continues year-round.
So everyone can join us in supporting our students.
Learn more and take the pledge at safesober.com, sponsored by Daggett Schuler.
Are you looking to jumpstart your future in the fast-paced, rapidly growing food industry? In Second Harvest Food Bank's Providence Culinary Training Program, you'll learn the craft and art of cooking, plus business and management skills, science and nutrition, and essential life skills. Providence Culinary Training has helped hundreds of individuals just like you launch successful culinary careers. There's no reason to wait to turn your passion for food into an exciting career. Check out the upcoming class schedule on our website at providencews.org.
Back now on Triad Today. Let's talk about shoulder injuries and treatments. And I know it might sound painful, and a lot of us have gone through them, but we have an expert who's going to help us through this right now. First time visitor to the show. We're so glad she's here. Dr. Amanda Jo Shepard. She says she likes to be called AJ, but that's too informal. I'm too intimidated to call her that. She's an orthopedic surgeon with Atrian Health, Wake Forest Baptist, sort of centered in the Lexington Hospital. Good to see you.
Nice to see you. Thank you for having me.
What are the common causes of shoulder pain?
In adults, probably the most common cause is typically soft tissue problems, and that being most commonly rotator cuff inflammation. We call it rotator cuff tendinopathy. Bursitis is another common name that a lot of people know it as.
Can it be arthritis too?
It can. Shoulder arthritis is actually, for primary arthritis, is actually very rare in the scheme of arthritis in our bodies. Usually more common in hip, knee, fingers, hands. So shoulder arthritis is a little less common.
Now, what are the symptoms that are usually associated with a shoulder condition of some sort? Because other than just the fact, well, I was working in the yard, my shoulder's sore. I mean, what are the symptoms we should look for if we got a problem?
Yes, most people will start to experience pain in the lateral aspect of the shoulder here. Usually hurts with doing things away from their body, like reaching out for things, rotating their arm back and forth, lifting overhead, reaching into a cabinet for something. One of the things that primarily people come in to see us about is usually they'll start having night pain when they're lying on that arm at night.
Oh man, yeah. And it can, as you said, it can come from just overextending and not meaning to. And that. All right, I want to break up this next question sort of into two categories because I want to talk about treatment options. One's non-surgical and then surgical. So start with non-surgical. What are some options?
Typically, if it's an inflammatory issue, we offer, anti-inflammatory medications. One of the things that we can particularly offer people are injections into that area around the rotator cuff, into that bursal space, which can actually, if it's just an inflammatory thing, can fix the problem. So that's one of the things that can really be therapeutic for people. Also, a course of, physical therapy is helpful. Doing some stretching, strengthening exercises of the rotator cuff particularly can help with the inflammation and also help with the weakness that usually people get if if they've been hurting for quite a bit of time.
Right, and if that doesn't quite solve the problem, then we go into the surgical realm, and what kind of surgery were you talking about?
Yes, and it kind of depends on, of course, we'd have to get a little bit more imaging prior to. There's a huge spectrum of rotator cuff issues, like we were talking, from inflammation to there's partial tears where the tendon can be partially torn, and then also, of course, worst case scenario, full thickness tears, and even sometimes tears that are irreparable. So an MRI is usually required to see those things because they're soft tissue problems. Sometimes x-rays can help too, but they're not as diagnostic typically. So
what is the, not that I want you to do a commercial here or anything, but I'm just curious. I mean, what's the benefit if I've got a shoulder problem that he's treated, the benefit of me coming, say, to see you or a shoulder specialist with Atrium? Because I know you guys have a big team and everything. I mean, what's the benefit of that?
Yes, I think seeing us would help. One, of course, diagnose the issue truly, and then two, we can offer injection therapy, particularly get more imaging so that we know what the true pathology is there if needed, and then of course, fix it surgically if it's required.
Yeah. So now do I need let's say I have an injury or something that's bothering me, whatever. Do I need to call my primary physician and get a referral from her, or can I just call up your office?
Just really depends on the patient's insurance. A lot of times some insurances, we're considered a specialist, so some insurances require a referral for that. But.
We have a few seconds left. Since you're a first-time visitor to the show, I'm curious, who or what led you to a career in medicine?
Probably my family, and then playing sports. Growing up, my mother was an operating room nurse for years, and then I played sports, basketball and volleyball actually at Guilford College, so that kind of led me into
So you knew all about
orthopedics.
getting injured and getting fixed.
Yes, unfortunately.
All right, and now a proud wife and mother of two, and we're just so glad you're around helping people.
Yes, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Up on screen, for more information, general information, you can go to wakehealth.edu, and please check that out. And I really hope you'll come back and see us sometime when you do that.
Sure, thank you.
All right. We'll be right back after this.
Every cookie sold in the Girl Scout Cookie Program helps girls learn lifelong lessons in people skills, decision making, money management, goal setting, and business ethics. It's amazing how much you can learn from a cookie. The Girl Scout Cookie Program. Think outside the box.
Back now on Triad Today, and almost time for the roundtable, but a quick shout out first to the good folks here at Senior Botanical Garden. It's a lovely place. Visit the garden, visit the website. You can come out here and do all sorts of great things. And we're going to do something great right here, probably, because I have three great guys with me. This is, by the way, our Virgin broadcast of the roundtable in 2023. Can you say that on television?
Sure,
Virgin
you can say that.
And here on my right is Virgin Ogie Overman, a great broadcaster journalist, but he's usually on the left. Don Martin, who now has a new title. He is chairman of the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners. Congratulations on that. And Keith Granberry, who is founder of Helping Hands Consultants. All right, guys. Senator Richard Burr gave his farewell address to Congress just before Christmas. He served for 28 years, and during that time, his net wealth increased by 3,000%, while the average American's net wealth increased by 1%. Will his legacy be one of enriching the lives of North Carolinians or enriching his bank book? Ogie.
I was just trying to think, and I could be wrong, but I don't think of anything he did to exactly enhance the lives of North Carolinians.
There you go. Don Martin.
Well, I think it's going to be some of both, but clearly he was, he had some very important committee assignments, on the Intelligence Committee for a number of years at a very difficult time, and I'm sure that he was a good thinker, he was a moderate Republican, and he did some nice things. I'm thinking of the big bridge down there in Salisbury that he helped happen with $150 million that made that Interstate 85 project go. And
Keith Granberry, what's his legacy?
I think he's a nice person, but I think that enriching himself and also it also shows how if you have power and influence, you can get out of things that normal people would not be able to get out of.
All right. Again, he is a nice guy, very personable, but anyway, that wasn't about the question. So, but we all sort of agree and disagree. All right. We've talked about a 4-day work week for businesses. Now it's coming to be more of a topic for schools. Should there be a 4-day school week? A lot of them in Texas and Missouri, for example, are going to that. There's been some discussion in some North Carolina towns. Would you like to see North Carolina schools go to a 4-day week, Ogie?
Well, I can see where the teachers would like it, But is that too much for kids? I mean, don't they get kind of restless after 10 hours?
Because they'd have to increase the hours, wouldn't they, Don?
They do. And there are districts in North Carolina who do that. Wilkes County's been doing it for almost 10 years. They have 160 days and they have long days. So a lot of weeks are less than 5 during the school year. But I will say, there's an issue you have to think about, and Wilkes County has to deal with this. It's we like it or not, there's a daycare issue with that. And so it puts families into, I got to scramble and do something on that one day.
What do you think?
I think it should be 5 days and possible 6 days, because kids really need education right now more than anything.
Boy, I know we don't have a lot of kids watching Triad Today, but if there are any watching right now, they're cussing at Keith. What do you mean? Meanwhile, some of our state lawmakers want to start the school year after Labor Day and end on Memorial Day. Are you okay with that proposal?
Almost. The holidays kind of move, year to year. So maybe the first Monday of September to the last Friday of May.
Yeah, the hospitality industry wants them to be able to work and do summer jobs. What do you think, Don?
Well, I actually think local communities ought to be able to set their own account. That's what you got a school board. They ought to be able to do what that community needs. If they need workers in the summer, you set a different calendar. If you need this and that and the other, you do it different.
What was the dates again?
Begin after Labor Day and end on Memorial Day.
I don't have no problem with that at all.
Speaking of schools, North Stokes High School is holding a raffle to raise money for their baseball team. Sounds like a good idea, except the top prizes are, and I'm quoting, 3 pistols, 3 rifles, and a shotgun. You guys okay with high schools raising money with gun raffles, Ogie?
That's really depressing, Jim. I just can't get over it. It's so bad, I can't think of the words to describe how
Just
bad
had
it is.
a 6-year-old student, Newport News, shoot a teacher.
Yeah.
Don, what do you think about a gun raffle?
Well, I kind of think raffles, you got parents trying to raise money for the baseball team, and I think you got to sell something that they think can sell and make money. The issue on the guns, they're legal, the kind of issues, but there are a lot of hunters. In fact, in Stokes, I heard the superintendent in Stokes on the radio talk about, yeah, man, this is a country, rural community. We hunt all the time and do things. It's a different environment, and he's okay.
I think that's a terrible idea. No one should be raffling guns off, and especially people in high school, elementary school, or middle school. There should be no reason to raffle guns off. There's a lot of other things you can raffle off, but guns is not one of them.
All right, I agree. There's some health officials are saying that we should all wear masks now because the triple threat of COVID, the flu, and RSV. There was some discussion even just 2 days ago about some schools in Durham and some of the universities are going to start requiring masks in classrooms because they're afraid of people spreading various viruses. You think we need to return to a mask mandate, Ogie?
Well, I hate to see it happening, but there's a new variant out now. I mean, masks are almost going to become mandatory again, I'm afraid.
I probably don't think we need to mandate it. I think it's one of those things that's personal care. You got to make it.
Gee,
I think it'd be mandated. I'm kind of curious how China is so bad and we don't seem to have masks. In China, they're just dying.
We're
it's
slow
really
learners.
Strange.
Yeah, we're
it's
slow
strange.
learners.
No herd immunity.
Finally.
They did such a good job. They didn't have any herd immunity out there in the community.
Finally, a county in Pennsylvania recently held an event for residents to adopt 120 rats that had been abandoned. Guys, have you ever adopted or associated with a rat, Ogie?
I kind of like rats. I don't have a thing against rats.
You don't?
100 or so, whatever.
Yes. Don?
Not associated with any rodents, but now there are perhaps some human rats.
What do you think, Keith? You had anything to do with any rats?
I've dealt with some rats, lots of rats. Not that I wanted to, but I have dealt with them.
You're not giving any names.
No, I won't give any names, but there are rats.
All right. Well, that was our Virgin Roundtable thing of 2023. That's all the time we have. Oh, except for this. There was a new study that said that the state of Mississippi is the least educated state in the union. A furious governor of Mississippi said, that ain't true. We ain't the least educated state. Alabama's much worser. I'm not sure he said it just like that. For all of us here on Triad Today, I'm Jim Longworth. We'll see you next week.